Ah, werewolves. Everybody loves them, right? Heh. Yeah. Sometimes a little too much. Heh. So, I'm going to be talking today about these ads that come out every so often. Like, you'll see them on anything, any social media site at this point. It is absolutely ridiculous how often you see it. Like, absolutely redonkulous, so to speak. So these werewolf things. Werewolves have been a mythical thing for thousands of years, so to speak. Like, they've been a mythical legend for a long time, right? But it wasn't until, like, maybe the early 2000s, when the first Twilight movie came out, that people decided werewolves are hot, man. Or maybe it was even back during Thriller, when Michael Jackson decided to turn into a werewolf himself. And then became a zombie and started, doing the Thriller dance. Well, I bet anything that's when all these women decided to have their ovaries explode over the sight of a werewolf, a hairy, beastly man that is known to eat people. Yeah. So, we're going to be talking today about werewolves, about why these alpha males have to find their mates. And I don't mean mate like how British people describe their friend, I mean mate. Like, literally, mate. I mean sex, people. So, mating with a werewolf, like, who thinks these things? Besides people with big imaginations. Me included. Look, I was 6 years old when the first Twilight movie came out. I was a big Edward fan, and I was a big Jacob fan. I mean, I grew up with Taylor Lautner as Shark Boy. I mean, come on. Most 2000s kids had a crush on Taylor Lautner, and if you didn't, you're lying. So, a lot of these people nowadays are obsessed with werewolves. It's just a thing. It's like a common phenomena. And a lot of these ads are absolutely raunchy. And it's not really the ads that's the issue. It's how much they're spread. It's how much they are constantly showing up, like worse than hemorrhoids. And they just pop out of nowhere all the time. Like, you'll be just sitting there playing a video game or playing like a mobile game where, like, I don't know, like Catch the Flag or something like that. And you're just playing this game, and all of a sudden this ad pops up of this girl being held captive, this pregnant lady being held captive by 3 triplets, and they're the wolf triplets, and they're the alpha triplets, and they are going to explode my ovaries and unravel my guts with their child thing. Yeah, I'm not kidding. I've seen it quite a lot, and I'm sure a lot of you have too, with these werewolf issues. And I think a lot of this werewolf thing also stems from daddy issues. Because, in case you haven't noticed, a lot of the werewolf men are older. Like, a lot older. Some of them are rich, some of them are older people, and it's just been one of those things, I guess. So, I mean, werewolf stories have become so popular that they are constantly being shown in Wattpad. They're constantly being shown everywhere. And as a Wattpad writer myself, whenever I see that, I just find it so funny because it's like werewolves of all things. I mean, which also, any Sonic fans out there know that Sonic Unleashed came out shortly after Twilight. Yeah, weird to believe that. Just as weird as it is that Lacey Chabert played as Princess Elise in Sonic.XXX. Yeah, that shocks me too, weirdly enough. So Sonic Unleashed came out a long time ago, and everyone loves that game. It's kind of like a mixed review thing. But I've noticed that with werewolf stuff, it stemmed so far back, Because people went from, hating werewolves and thinking werewolves are scared monsters, or like big old scary monsters and everything, and now people are like, oh my gosh, I want a werewolf to, like, impregnate me in the night. That's literally what some of you weirdos think of, and don't get me wrong, I used to be one of those weirdos, okay? So I'm just making fun of myself here, too, so just letting you guys know that. But this werewolf phenomena is really getting weird. Because they not only just show up at the drop of a pin, they show up sometimes on kids' videos and even sometimes on games that little kids are watching. Now, I'm not just saying that, your kid is always going to be on the internet in some sense, but just always keep an eye out on stuff like that because these random pop-up ads get ridiculous. And I mean, I know they're pretty bad, but I mean, some of them are not as bad as what I used to get growing up, believe me. Which, I mean, the days of the internet are totally different now compared to when I was growing up on the internet. Like, little old me would just be sitting there typing stuff into the keyboard, all happy-go-lucky, and then next thing I know, I see this link opening up to a Snownado porn page on DeviantArt, or a shock sight of a man exposing his wide butthole, or 2 girls, 1 cup. Those were the days. Ugh. But, you know, I'm mostly talking about, like, you know, those pop-up ads with, like, the werewolf thing. For some reason, all these werewolf things, all these werewolf books always have one thing in common. One thing always in common. Like, the girl is like this freshly spring chicken. She's 18 years old, and the werewolf guy is like 500 years old or something like that. And it's like, oh my goodness, he's rich, and he has triplets, and he has this, and he has that, and I know there was this one where he rejected her as her mate and then went with someone else, and she was having his child, and then years later she ran off from the pack. And yeah, these people always run in packs, apparently. I guess it must be something like The Village, like a secret city or something, who knows. But these werewolf books, they always show like the most raunchiest things in the ads. And so I actually once downloaded one. I once downloaded a book app because I was like, you know, if these stories are really what they seem, I really want to find out for myself. So that's what I did. And let me tell you something. These books are boring. Just boring. A lot of it is just gobbledygook of nothing. Like, I remember this one book, for instance, where she was freshly 18. Go figure. I swear, this almost reads like that luxury channel story thing where they are constantly going after a monster that an 18-year-old girl brought up. That's what it's almost reading like. So she's like in the pack. She's new. She hasn't really became a wolf yet. She wants to find her mate on the 3rd blood moon of 1982, and her parents are mates, and, you know, they do stuff in front of her. Yes, that's actually a thing. And they do this stuff, and then there was this other werewolf guy that just comes in, this sexy man in a tuxedo walks in, and he's like the Christian Grey. Well, he comes to this party, and he's like offering his hand to her and everything. Next thing you know, she's in the bathroom and doing stuff that children shouldn't read about. Yeah, it's just one thing after another, and a lot of these books are so just, they're boring. Like, they don't really have much of anything to them other than the sex parts, and those don't even come in until, I don't know, I think the very last of the chapter, if even at all. And I mean, I'm not saying that people should just download it to read it for that. I'm not saying that, but it is weird that, you know, they only expose, you know, the stuff that doesn't even exist in the story. Like, it's almost as if AI made it, and they just use it as that. But aside from this werewolf stuff, I mean, it's like that in a lot of things. I mean, they don't usually just do it with werewolves. They also do it with mafia bosses. They do it with the mafia boss's son, or some rich guy, or something like that. Your boss, or your CEO, or it's always something authoritative. And I think it's because a lot of people have that type of thing, you know? But, I mean, I'm just saying, this werewolf phenomena is absolutely insane. And it's only been for, like, the last 4 years, I think. Because I remember seeing it when I was a senior in high school. Like, I would just be sitting there, and all of a sudden, you just see this girl with, like, a werewolf man doing something to her, and it was like, huh? And I was like, okay, whatever, I've seen worse. And you would just move on with your day. But they also have other types, too. Like, episode, for instance. They always show, like, this sexual appeal. Like, you know, there's this one episode ad where, like, this girl comes out of the pool, and she's like, oh my goodness, what do I do now? And it's always this raunchy stuff that gets shown in the ads. I've just noticed that out of a lot of ads that have been out recently, and some of them are just downright pornographic and really shouldn't be shown to any, like, kids, for instance, because kids, they're going to be on someone's phone. I mean, when iPhone first came out in 2007, when I was 6, I was sitting there, watching it and, playing on the iPhone and stuff, because it was a cool new gadget. It was a cool new thing. Because the last phone that my parents had was a BlackBerry Mobile. So I was like just sitting there playing on it, playing Angry Birds. Kids are going to do that, especially with like new technology and things. And with the way technology is taken over now, it's just become more apparent. So I guess what I'm saying here is just watch what your kids do. And I mean, I said this not too long ago in the emoji cat baby thing, which was an absolute just mess all in itself. It's terrifying, actually. But just watch what your kids watch, I guess. And I'm just going to reiterate that over and over again because, trust me, little kids don't need to be seeing that garbage. They don't. And I don't think you want your kids to wind up like me, right? So, I guess that's just about it with the werewolf thing. But, yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say here is, just watch out for it because you're going to see those ads a lot. And I bet anything after this, I'm probably going to see a heap load of these ads. So, just be aware. And beware of werewolves, because apparently werewolves are like sugar daddies or something. I don't know. And they're often triplets who are wanting a polyamorous relationship with a fresh spring chicken that is an 18-year-old girl. Like, it's always an 18-year-old girl. It's always funny to me. Because it's like, there's other adult ages too. Like 20, 25, all this stuff. Because, I mean, look at me, for instance. I'm almost 24, and I look like a 70-year-old, and I live like a 70-year-old, and this is my life now. Yeah. Yep. But if you guys did like this video, be sure you hit the like button. Also, be sure you subscribe so that way I can get up to 600 subs, as I see a lot of you aren't subscribed, so be sure you do that, or else a werewolf will come into your room and do the you-know-what, the devil's tango and all that. Be sure you check out my pages, as I got loads of other content. Also, be sure you check out my books. And that's pretty much it. But I love you, little androids. God bless. And remember, this isn't goodbye forever. This is just goodbye for now. Bye.